My daughter told me not to sit in the front row at her University of Toronto graduation because I would embarrass her in front of her boyfriend's family. My name is Gerald Hutchinson. I'm 62 years old. I've driven transport trucks across Canada for 34 years. Her graduation ceremony had 2,800 attendees. Her boyfriend's parents, the kind of people who own a venture capital firm in Yorkville, told everyone they'd been supporting her through university, mentoring her, giving her opportunities. They made sure every professor, every classmate knew I was just the truck driver, the blue-collar father who didn't understand their world. But here's what they didn't know. I paid for everything. All 4 years at U of T, $195,000 in tuition, residence fees, textbooks, living expenses, money from my late wife's life insurance policy. My wife, her mother, Margaret, who died 8 years ago in a highway accident on the 401, the woman they never once mentioned during the entire graduation week. No tribute, no acknowledgement, not even a photo at the family dinner. When my daughter introduced me to her boyfriend's parents as a family friend, not her father, I walked out of that ceremony, made 4 phone calls that changed everything, and then I came back. The video went viral, 6.2 million views across TikTok and Instagram, but you haven't heard my side of the story. And if you're someone who's ever worked your hands to the bone for your kids, ever felt invisible after years of sacrifice, this one's for you. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened and why I did what I did. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from, and if you've ever had to draw a line like I did. This is how a truck driver making $73,000 a year taught a family worth millions that respect isn't about what you do for a living. It's about remembering who carried you when you couldn't walk on your own. Let me back up, give you the whole picture. My wife Margaret died 8 years ago, June 14th, 2016. Multi-vehicle collision on Highway 401 eastbound, just past Port Hope. Transport truck jackknifed in heavy rain. She was driving home from her shift at the Oshawa General Hospital, emergency room nurse for 22 years. She died helping other people survive their worst days. She left a life insurance policy through her union, $210,000. Manulife. I remember opening that envelope 3 weeks after her funeral. Her signature was on the beneficiary form, blue ballpoint pen. The M in Margaret had that little loop she always did. Our daughter Sarah was 18 when Margaret died. Just finished high school. Starting at University of Toronto in September, commerce program, full 5-year co-op degree. Margaret had been so proud, had already bought Sarah a new laptop, a Lenovo ThinkPad, $1,840 after tax, still in the box when the accident happened. I worked doubles that summer. Extra runs to Thunder Bay, to Montreal, to Detroit. Made an extra $11,200. Put it towards Sarah's first year. Residence at Chestnut, $14,600 for 8 months. Meal plan, $4,200. Tuition for commerce, $16,400 for domestic students. Books and supplies, $1,800. I paid it all up front in August. Used Margaret's insurance money, $37,000 for year 1. I told Sarah, "This is from your mother. She wanted you to have every opportunity." She cried, hugged me, said she'd make us proud. She met Brandon in 2nd year, October 2018. Brandon Chen. His family, the Chens, they're Toronto elite. His father, Victor Chen, runs Chen Ventures, a venture capital firm with offices in First Canadian Place. His mother, Patricia, sits on the board of the Royal Ontario Museum. You know the type. Summer homes in Muskoka, winters in Palm Springs, memberships at the National Club. The word cottage used when they mean a $4.8 million property on Lake Muskoka with a boathouse bigger than my house. The relationship got serious quickly. By Christmas 2018, Sarah was spending holidays with them. She stopped coming home to Scarborough as often. I live in the same 3-bedroom, semi-detached I bought with Margaret in 1989, Eglinton East, near Kennedy. Mortgage paid off in 2012. It's not fancy, but it's paid for. It's mine. I started noticing things. Small things at first. The way Sarah talked changed. She started saying university instead of school, started using words like networking and portfolio and equity. Nothing wrong with that. I was proud she was learning, but then she'd correct me when I said things wrong. Dad, it's pronounced fiduciary, not fiduciary. Dad, you don't say venture capitalism, you say venture capital. Always gentle, but always correcting. Like I was embarrassing even in private. The graduation planning started in January 2024. Sarah called me one Tuesday evening. Hey Dad, so graduation's in June. Convocation, they call it. U of T does it at Convocation Hall. Beautiful building, she said. The Chens are getting a box. They invited me to sit with them. A box? I said. Like at a hockey game? She laughed. No, Dad. It's just the VIP seating section. More comfortable chairs. Better view. Oh, I said. That's nice of them. Yeah. Victor and Patricia have been really supportive. They've been mentoring me, helping me with job applications, networking. That's great, honey. I'm proud of you. She paused. Dad, about seating. How would you feel about sitting in the general section? Just because the box only fits 6 people, and Brandon's whole family is coming, his grandmother from Hong Kong, his aunt and uncle. I felt something twist in my stomach. Where would I sit? There's plenty of good seats in the main hall. You'll still see everything. I didn't say anything for a moment. I thought about those 4 years, the $195,000 I'd paid, the extra shifts, the nights I'd driven through blizzards on the 400 North to make delivery deadlines so I could afford her textbooks, her residence fees, her meal plans. Sure, honey, I said. Whatever works. Thanks, Dad. You're the best. I knew you'd understand. I should have said something then, but I didn't. I told myself it was just logistics, just seating. It didn't matter where I sat. I'd still see her graduate, but it kept happening. Late February, Sarah sent me her graduation announcement. Heavy cardstock, cream-colored, engraved lettering. I opened it at a rest stop near Barrie. I'd just finished a run to Sudbury. Sarah Elizabeth Hutchinson, Bachelor of Commerce, University of Toronto, Class of 2024. Below that, a paragraph. Sarah wishes to express her deepest gratitude to Victor and Patricia Chen for their unwavering support, mentorship, and guidance throughout her university journey. Their generosity and belief in her potential have been instrumental in her success. I read it 3 times. No mention of me, no mention of Margaret. I called her that night. Hey, honey, got your announcement. It's beautiful. Thanks, Dad. Patricia helped me design it. She knows a calligrapher. I noticed something. You mentioned the Chens. Yeah, they've been amazing. Victoria helped me get my internship at TD last summer. She made a call. I wouldn't have gotten it otherwise. That's great. I just noticed you didn't mention me. Or your mom. The line went quiet for a few seconds. Dad, it's just space. There's only so much you can fit on the card. But you fit a whole paragraph about the Chens, because they've been really involved in my professional development. You've been supportive too, obviously. But this is more about career mentorship. I see. I could hear her getting defensive. Dad, please don't make this weird. It's just a graduation announcement. Right, sorry. I'm proud of you. I know. Love you. Love you too. I hung up and sat in my truck for 20 minutes, staring at that card. Margaret's face flashed in my mind. The way she'd worked double shifts to save money. The way she'd talked about Sarah's future like it was scripture. Sarah's going to do something amazing. I can feel it. She was going to do something amazing, and she was erasing the people who made it possible. April came, the pre-graduation family dinner. The Chens hosted it at their home in Forest Hill, 42 Dunvegan Road. I looked it up on Google Maps after Sarah gave me the address. $7.3 million property, 6 bedrooms, coach house, pool. I drove there in my 2014 Silverado. Parked on the street between a Porsche Cayenne and a Tesla Model X. I was wearing my good clothes, dark jeans, a button-down shirt from Mark's Work Warehouse, a sport coat I'd bought for Margaret's funeral 8 years ago, navy blue, still fit? Mostly. Patricia Chen answered the door. Mid-50 seconds, hair in a perfect bob, cream cashmere sweater, pearls. "You must be Gerald," she said. Warm smile, firm handshake. "Come in, come in." The house was stunning. Hardwood floors, original crown molding, art on the walls that I didn't recognize, but that looked expensive. Modern stuff, abstract. Sarah appeared from the living room. "Dad, you made it." She hugged me, but it was brief, quick. She was wearing a dress I'd never seen. Something fitted, dark green, expensive looking. "You look nice," I said. "Thanks." Patricia took me shopping. The dinner was in the dining room. Long table, seats 12. Crystal chandelier, china that looked like it belonged in a museum. Victor Chen sat at the head. Gray hair, wire-rimmed glasses, tailored shirt. He stood when I entered. "Gerald, welcome. Thank you for having me. We're so glad you could join us. Please, sit." There were 10 of us. Victor and Patricia, Brandon, Sarah, Brandon's grandmother, who spoke very little English, his aunt and uncle, Victor's business partner, and his wife, and me. I was seated at the far end of the table, away from Sarah. The meal was catered. I don't know what company. But servers came in and out, black uniforms, white gloves, 4 courses. I didn't recognize most of what was on my plate. Some kind of fish with a foam on top. Tiny portions. Beautiful presentation. I ate quietly, listened. Victor dominated the conversation. He talked about Sarah's accomplishments, her internship at TD, her job offer at CIBC, starting in July, Wealth Management Division, $78,000, starting salary plus bonuses. "We're so proud of her," Victor said. "We've been mentoring her since sophomore year, helping her build her network. She's got a bright future." Patricia added, "She's like a daughter to us. We've loved watching her grow." I gripped my fork, said nothing. Sarah smiled, blushed, thanked them. Brandon squeezed her hand. After the main course, Patricia stood. She had cue cards, small white cards with notes. She'd prepared a speech. "Everyone, if I could have your attention." I wanted to take a moment to celebrate Sarah. Applause. Light, polite. She's been an absolute joy to know. When Brandon first brought her home, I could see immediately that she was special. Driven, intelligent, kind. Over the past few years, we've had the privilege of supporting her journey, helping her navigate the professional world, opening doors, and watching her walk through them with grace and confidence. She paused, looked at Sarah with genuine affection. "Sarah, you've worked so hard. Your success is a testament to your character. We're honored to be part of your story." More applause. Sarah wiped her eyes. "Thank you, Patricia. You've done so much for me." Victor raised his glass. To Sarah, everyone echoed. I raised my glass of water, didn't drink. Patricia sat down. The servers brought dessert, some kind of chocolate thing with gold leaf on top. I noticed Patricia didn't mention me. Not once. Didn't mention Margaret. Didn't mention the fact that Sarah's tuition had been paid in full every year, that her residence fees had been covered, that she'd never taken out a student loan, never worked during the school year because she didn't have to. I wanted to say something. Wanted to stand up and ask Patricia if she knew who paid for the degree she was celebrating, but I didn't. I finished my dessert, thanked them for the meal, left quietly. Sarah walked me to the door. "Thanks for coming, Dad. It was nice." "They're great, aren't they? They're very kind." She smiled. "I'm lucky." I wanted to say, "You're lucky I worked 60-hour weeks. You're lucky your mother died, leaving you money she'd saved by working nights for 22 years. But I didn't. I just hugged her, told her I loved her, drove home. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat at my kitchen table, same table Margaret and I bought in 1991 from IKEA, oak veneer. Scratches from 33 years of meals, homework, life. I opened my filing cabinet, pulled out a folder. The one I'd kept since 2016. Document 1, Manulife Life Insurance Payout Letter, $210,000. Margaret's signature. Beneficiary, Sarah's education and future. Dated June 30th, 2016. Document 2, U of T tuition receipts. Year 1, $37,000. Year 2, $41,200. Year 3, $44,600. Year 4, $48,300. Year 5, $23,800 for final semester. Total, $194, no cents. Every receipt filed chronologically, every payment confirmed. I'd paid for her entire degree. Not a loan, not a scholarship. Me, my money, Margaret's money. And tomorrow, Sarah was going to graduate, and the people taking credit weren't us. They were the Chens. The next morning, May 3rd, I went to my bank, CIBC, on Kennedy Road. I met with my account manager, Thomas Lee. Mid 40 seconds. Professional. I've known him for years. Gerald, what can I do for you? I need to close an account. Which one? The trust account I set up for Sarah. The remainder. Thomas pulled it up on his computer. Account 447-988-321-145. Current balance, $42,780. This is Sarah's account? It's mine. I'm the sole owner. She's the beneficiary, but I can close it any time before she's 25. She's 24. Thomas nodded slowly. You're within your rights. Do you want to transfer it to your main account? Yes. Processing time? Immediate. The funds will show in your account by end of business today. I signed the paperwork. Thomas printed the confirmation. Gerald, can I ask? Is everything okay? Everything's fine. I'm just making some changes. He didn't push. Good man. I left the bank. That money, that $42,780, was what remained of Margaret's insurance. I'd been saving it, planning to give it to Sarah after graduation. Help with a down payment on a condo, or a car, or whatever she needed. But not anymore. Graduation day, June 7th, 2024. Convocation Hall, University of Toronto. The ceremony started at 2:30 p.m. I arrived at noon. Wanted to be early. I wore the same sport coat, same button-down shirt. Ironed this time. I looked okay. Not fancy, but respectable. I walked to the main entrance. There was a will call desk. I gave my name, Gerald Hutchinson. The student volunteer checked her list. Here you are. Section C, row 18, seat 14. Thank you. I walked into the hall. It's beautiful. Gothic architecture, wood paneling, high ceilings, stained glass. Feels like a cathedral. I found my seat, row 18, near the back, far from the stage. I could see everything, but barely. I looked up at the boxes. Private seating areas on the second level, elevated, cushioned chairs. I saw the Chens. Victor in a dark suit, Patricia in a hat, like she was at Buckingham Palace. Brandon next to Sarah. Sarah looked beautiful. Navy blue dress, hair done. She was laughing at something Brandon's grandmother said. Happy. I felt proud and angry, confused, all at once. The ceremony began. Processional music, faculty in robes, the chancellor, the president, speeches, long speeches about leadership and innovation and making a difference. At 3:45, they started calling names. Faculty of Arts and Science first, then Engineering, then Music. Finally, Rotman School of Management, Commerce Program, Sarah Elizabeth Hutchinson. She walked across the stage, confident, poised, shook hands with the dean, accepted her diploma. The Chens stood up in their box, applauded, took photos. I clapped from row 18. She didn't look my way, didn't even glance at the general seating. After the ceremony, there was a reception. Outside on the lawn, King's College Circle, tables with snacks, juice, coffee, families taking photos. I found Sarah near the president's. Soldiers Tower. She was with the Chens. Brandon's grandmother was taking photos with a professional camera. Victor had his arm around Sarah's shoulder. Patricia was adjusting Sarah's tassel. I approached, smiled. Sarah, Dad. She hugged me. Quick again. You made it. Of course I made it. She turned to the Chens. Everyone, this is my dad, Gerald. I extended my hand to Victor. Congratulations on Sarah's success, he said. Firm handshake. Patronizing tone. You must be very proud. I am. Patricia smiled. We were just saying how lucky we are to have been part of her journey. I nodded, said nothing. Brandon's aunt, Linda, chimed in. Sarah's told us so much about you. You're a truck driver, right? That's right. That must be hard work. It is. Long hours. But it pays the bills. Patricia added, Well, Sarah's done so well despite everything. The words hung there. Despite everything. Despite what? Despite having a blue-collar father? Despite not growing up in Forest Hill? I felt my jaw tighten. Sarah sensed it. Dad, why don't we get a photo? Just the two of us? Sure. We stepped away, found a spot near the grass. A student volunteer offered to take our photo. We stood together, smiled. The volunteer took 3 shots, handed my phone back. Thanks. Sarah looked at me. You okay, Dad? You seem tense. I'm fine. Just proud of you. She smiled. Thanks for being here. I know it's not the fancy seating, but it's fine, Sarah. I'm just glad I could come. We walked back to the Chens. They were packing up. Victor was on his phone. Important call, apparently. Patricia was organizing dinner plans. Sarah, we have reservations at Canoe at 6:30. Top floor of the TD Tower. You and Brandon are coming, obviously. She glanced at me. Gerald, you're welcome to join if you'd like. Her tone said otherwise. That's kind of you, but I have an early shift tomorrow. I should get going. Sarah hugged me. Thanks for coming, Dad. I love you. Love you too, honey. Congratulations. I walked to my truck. Sat in the driver's seat. Didn't start the engine. Just sat there. Stared at the steering wheel. Felt hollow. My phone buzzed. Text from Sarah. Thanks again for coming, Dad. Sorry the seating wasn't great. The Chens really wanted us in the box with them. You understand, right? I stared at that message. Typed back. Of course. Proud of you. Didn't send. Deleted it. Typed again. Do they know I paid for your entire degree? Didn't send that either. Deleted it. Finally typed, proud of you. Always. Sent. She replied with a heart emoji. I put my phone down. Started the truck. Started driving. But I didn't go home. I drove to Mount Pleasant Cemetery, where Margaret is buried. Section 29. Plot 447. I parked, walked to her grave. Gray granite headstone. Margaret Ann Hutchinson. Beloved wife and mother. 1962 to 2016. She gave everything. I stood there for a long time. Talked to her like I sometimes do. Maggie, I don't know what to do. She's graduating today. You'd be so proud. She looks just like you. Smart like you. But she's forgetting us. Forgetting you. They're erasing you from her story. And I let it happen. The wind picked up. Trees rustled. I wiped my eyes. Made a decision. Not yet, though. I needed to wait. Needed to think. 3 days later, June 10th, Sarah called. Hey, Dad. What's up, honey? So, the Chens are throwing me a graduation party. This Saturday. At their house. Kind of a big celebration. They've invited a bunch of people. Business contacts, family, friends. That sounds nice. Yeah. Dad, I need to ask you something. What is it? The party is going to be pretty formal. Lots of important people. Victor's inviting some of his venture capital partners. Patricia's inviting people from the ROM board. And I just want to make sure we're all on the same page about how we present things. Present things? Yeah. Like, the Chens have been so generous. And they're going to be talking about how they supported me through school. Mentorship and stuff. And I don't want there to be any confusion. My stomach dropped. Confusion about what? About who did what? I just think it's easier if we keep things simple. Let them have their moment. They've been so good to me. I see. Dad, don't be like that. Like what? Upset. I'm not upset, Sarah. I'm just trying to understand what you're asking me. I'm asking you to just let the Chens take credit. For your education? It's not about credit, Dad. It's about relationships. Victor's been helping me network. Patricia wrote me a recommendation letter. If I start telling everyone you paid for everything, it makes them look bad. And they've done so much for me professionally. Silence on my end. 7 seconds. I counted. Sarah, Dad, please. I need this. These people are my future. They're my contacts, my network. Brandon's family is important to me. I can't alienate them. So, you want me to pretend I didn't exist for 4 years? That's not what I'm saying. That's exactly what you're saying. No, it's not. I'm just asking you to be understanding. I've been understanding, Sarah, for months, since January. But this is too much. Dad, if you love me, you'll do this. I do love you. That's why I'm saying no. I hung up. She called back immediately. I didn't answer. She texted, Dad, please call me back. We need to talk about this. I need you at this party. Please. I didn't respond. Turned off my phone. Sat at my kitchen table. Opened the folder again. Looked at Margaret's signature. Looked at the receipts. $194,900. Nearly $200,000. $200,000. That's 3.5 years of my gross income before taxes. After taxes, closer to 4.5 years of take-home. I gave her everything. Margaret gave her everything. And she wanted me to pretend it never happened so she could impress people who wouldn't give her the time of day if she'd graduated with $80,000 in student debt like most of her classmates. I called my lawyer, Alan Porter. He'd handled Margaret's estate in 2016, drafted the trust account. Good man, known him 15 years. Gerald, what can I do for you? I need advice. About what? The trust account I closed last week. Can Sarah challenge that legally? No. You're the account owner. She was the beneficiary, but you retained full control until she turned 25. She's 24. So legally, I'm clear. Completely. Why? What's going on? I think I'm about to do something, and I want to make sure I'm protected. Alan paused. Gerald, whatever you're planning, just make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. I hung up. Saturday, June 15th. The graduation party. I wasn't invited. Well, I was invited, but I declined. But I changed my mind. I showed up anyway. 6:30 p.m. Same house, on Dunvegan Road. This time, the driveway was full. Valet parking. Actual valets in white shirts and black vests. I parked down the street, walked to the front door, rang the bell. A server answered. Good evening, sir. Name? Gerald Hutchinson. She checked her clipboard. I'm sorry, sir. I don't see you on the list. I'm Sarah's father. I was invited. One moment. She disappeared. Came back with Patricia Chen. Gerald. Hello, Patricia. We weren't expecting you. Sarah said you weren't coming. I changed my mind. Her smile was frozen. Of course. Come in. She led me through the foyer into the backyard. They'd set up a tent. White tent, clear sides, string lights, tables with linens, maybe 80 people, waiters circulating with trays of hors d'oeuvres and champagne. I saw Sarah immediately. She was near the bar with Brandon. She was mid-laugh when she saw me. Her face fell. Dad, I came. That's good. You should be here. She looked at Brandon. Her eyes said, help. Brandon extended his hand. Mr. Hutchinson, good to see you. You too. Sarah pulled me aside, walked me toward the edge of the tent, away from the crowd. Dad, what are you doing here? You invited me. I know, but you said you weren't coming. I changed my mind. Her jaw was tight. Dad, please. Please what? Please don't make this awkward. I'm not making anything awkward, Sarah. I'm just here to celebrate your graduation. She looked back at the party. At Victor, talking to a group of men in suits. At Patricia, holding court with women in cocktail dresses. Fine. Just please be cool. I'm always cool. She didn't look convinced. At 7:15, Victor called for everyone's attention. He stood near a small stage they'd set up, tapped his glass with a knife. Everyone quieted. Patricia handed him a microphone. Thank you all for coming. We're here tonight to celebrate someone very special. Sarah Hutchinson. Applause. Sarah smiled, blushed, walked toward the stage. Brandon followed. 4 years ago, Victor continued, Sarah walked into our lives, and we knew immediately she was someone extraordinary. We've had the privilege of mentoring her, guiding her. watching her grow from a bright student into a confident, capable young woman. He went on. 8 minutes. I timed it. He talked about her internship, the recommendation letters he'd written, the networking events Patricia had brought her to, the doors they'd opened. And tonight, I'm proud to announce that Sarah has accepted a position at CIBC in wealth management. Because of the connections we've helped her make, she's starting her career on the right foot. More applause. Sarah wiped her eyes, hugged Victor, hugged Patricia. Patricia took the microphone. I just want to add, she said, that investing in young people is what Victor and I care most about. We believe in giving back, and Sarah has been such a joy to support. We've covered her mentorship, her networking, her professional development, and will continue to support her as she starts this next chapter. The words hit me like a punch. We've covered what? Mentorship, fine. But she made it sound like they'd paid for everything. I looked around. People were nodding, smiling, impressed by the Chenz's generosity. Sarah was beaming. She believed it too. Or at least, she was letting them believe it. Patricia finished, handed the microphone back to Victor. He raised his glass. To Sarah. To Sarah, everyone echoed. I didn't raise my glass. I pulled out my phone, opened my files. The receipts, the bank statements, the trust account closure confirmation. I walked toward the stage. Sarah saw me moving. Her eyes went wide. Dad, no. I reached the stage. Victor was about to step down. I took the microphone from his hand. Excuse me, I said. Polite, firm. The tent went silent. Victor looked confused. Patricia's smile disappeared. Sarah's face went pale. I'm Gerald Hutchinson, Sarah's father. Polite applause from a few people who didn't know what else to do. I wanted to add something to what's been said tonight, because there's been a lot of talk about support and investment and generosity, and I think it's important that everyone here knows the full story. Sarah stood frozen. Dad, please. I held up my phone, turned it so the front rows could see the screen. This is a life insurance payout statement from Manulife. $210,000, dated June 30th, 2016. My late wife, Sarah's mother, Margaret, died in a car accident on the 401. She was a nurse. Emergency room, 22 years. She left this insurance policy. For Sarah's education, I scrolled. This is Sarah's tuition receipt from the University of Toronto. Year 1, $37,000. I paid it, in full, August 2016. Gasps from several tables. Victor's face was red. Patricia's mouth was open. Year 2, I continued. $41,200. Paid in full. Year 3, $44,600. Year 4, $48,300. Final semester, 23,800. Total paid over 5 years, $194,900. I looked around the tent. Every eye was on me. Nobody said a word. I looked at Victor. You said you covered her professional development. That's true. You wrote recommendation letters, opened doors. I respect that. But I paid for her degree, every dollar. My voice cracked slightly. I steadied it. Her mother worked double shifts for 22 years, died driving home from one of those shifts. Her insurance money paid for Sarah's education. And tonight, I sat here and listened to you take credit for supporting her through university. I looked at Patricia. You said you invested in her. You did. Mentorship, networking, valuable things. But I invested $200,000. Money I earned driving trucks across Canada in winter storms. Money my wife earned saving lives in an emergency room. I turned to Sarah. Her face was white, tears streaming. You asked me last week to let them have their moment, to not make waves, to let everyone believe they paid for everything. I paused. So I came here tonight to make sure everyone knows the truth. Victor tried to speak. Gerald, I think there's been a misunderstanding. No misunderstanding, Victor. You're a good man. You've been kind to my daughter. But you don't get to erase me. You don't get to erase Margaret. Patricia stepped forward. We never said we paid for her tuition. You implied it. You said you covered her. You said you invested in her. You let everyone here believe you funded her education. And you let my daughter erase her mother from her story. I looked back at Sarah. In her graduation announcement, you mentioned the Chens. A whole paragraph. You didn't mention me. You didn't mention your mother. At your graduation ceremony, you introduced me to your boyfriend's family as a family friend. Not your father. Sarah sobbed. I didn't mean. You meant it. You were ashamed of me, of what I do, of where we come from. I held up my phone again. Last week, I closed the trust account I'd been saving for you, $42,780. Your mother's money. I was going to give it to you after graduation, for a down payment, for whatever you needed. Several people gasped. Sarah's hand went to her mouth. But you don't need it. You have the Chens. They've invested in you. They've supported you. So, I'm donating it, every dollar, to a scholarship fund for children of blue-collar workers. Kids whose parents drive trucks, work in warehouses, clean buildings. Kids who don't have rich families to open doors. I looked at Sarah one more time. Your mother would have wanted that. I set the microphone down, walked toward the exit. The tent was dead silent. Sarah's voice, broken. Dad, please. I didn't stop. I walked through the house. Out the front door, down the driveway, got in my truck, drove home. My phone started ringing before I hit the end of the street. Sarah, Brandon, unknown numbers. I silenced it. Didn't block. Just silenced. When I got home, I checked my phone. 17 missed calls. 12 text messages. I opened the first one. From Sarah. Sent 8:47 p.m. Dad, I'm so sorry. Please call me. I'm devastated. I don't know what to say. Please. I didn't respond. Second text. From Brandon. Mr. Hutchinson, I'm so sorry for what happened. I had no idea about the tuition. Sarah never told me. Please call her. She's a mess. Third text. Unknown number. This is Patricia Chen. Gerald, I'm horrified by the misunderstanding tonight. We never intended to imply we paid for Sarah's education. I hope we can speak and resolve this. I put the phone down. Didn't answer anyone. Went to bed. Slept 8 hours. First time in weeks. The next day was Sunday. I made coffee. Sat at the kitchen table. Opened my laptop. The first thing I saw was an email notification. YouTube. Subject, your name has been mentioned in a video. I clicked. The video was titled, Dad Exposes Daughter at Graduation Party. Full story. Uploaded 6 hours ago. Already had 890,000 views. I clicked. It was filmed by someone at the party. Phone video. Shaky, but clear. It started mid-speech. My voice saying, I paid for her degree. Every dollar. I watched the whole thing. 6 minutes, 40 seconds. The comments section was exploding. 3,200 comments. I scrolled. This man is a legend. Respect to blue-collar parents everywhere. The daughter is disgusting. How dare she erase her own parents? The Chens are embarrassing. Taking credit for someone else's sacrifice. I closed the laptop, checked my phone. 29 missed calls now. More texts. Sarah had sent 11 messages overnight. Dad, please talk to me. I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt you. The Chens are mortified. I've been crying all night. Please, Dad, I need to talk to you. One text from Patricia Chen. Gerald, I'd like to speak with you privately. I believe we can resolve this misunderstanding. I replied to Patricia, no misunderstanding. You were happy to take credit until the truth came out. Don't contact me again. I didn't reply to Sarah. I needed time. Monday morning, I went to work, drove my regular route, Thunder Bay and back, 14 hours. When I got home, there was a car in my driveway, Sarah's Honda Civic. She was sitting on my front porch, red eyes, hadn't slept. I parked, got out. She stood up. Dad, Sarah, can we talk? I unlocked the door. She followed me in, sat at the kitchen table. I made coffee, handed her a mug. She wrapped her hands around it. Didn't drink. Dad, I don't know where to start. Start with why. Why what? Why you erased us. Me, your mother. I didn't erase you. You did, Sarah. You erased us from your story because we didn't fit the narrative you wanted. The tears started again. I was scared. Of what? Of not being good enough. For Brandon. For his family. For the life I wanted. So you decided we weren't good enough. No, I never thought that. You did. You thought I was embarrassing. You thought introducing me as your father would make you look less impressive. That's not true. It is true. You introduced me as a family friend. You told me to sit in the back. You wrote a whole paragraph about the Chens, and didn't mention me once. She was sobbing now. Full, ugly crying. I'm so sorry, Dad. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Why didn't you tell me? Tell you what? That you paid for everything. I thought... What did you think? I thought maybe you paid for some of it. But I thought I had scholarships. I thought OSAP covered some... loans. I don't know. I just didn't think about it. That's the problem, Sarah. You didn't think about it. You took it for granted. Took me for granted. I know. I'm so sorry. What do the Chens say? They're mortified. Patricia called me yesterday. Said they never meant to take credit. That it was a misunderstanding. Is it a misunderstanding? Sarah looked at her coffee. No. They knew. They knew you paid? They knew I didn't have loans. They knew I never mentioned money problems. They just assumed someone else was paying, and they were happy to take credit. She nodded. Yes. We sat in silence for 3 minutes. Finally, Sarah spoke. What do I do now? You figure out who you want to be. Do you want to be someone who honors where you came from, or someone who erases it to fit in? I want to honor you. Then start. How? First, tell the truth. To who? To everyone. To Brandon. To the Chens. To your friends. To your new job. Tell them your father is a truck driver who paid for your entire degree with money from your mother's life insurance, and that you're proud of that. Her hands shook. What if Brandon's family judges me? Then they're not the kind of people you should want to impress. What if I lose them? Then you'll know where you stand. She cried for another 10 minutes. I didn't comfort her, didn't hug her, just let her sit with it. When she was ready, she looked at me. Dad, can I fix this? I don't know. Can you? I want to? Then prove it. I stood up, walked to my filing cabinet, pulled out Margaret's photo. The one from our wedding day. 1,988. Margaret in her white dress. Huge smile. Handed it to Sarah. Your mother was the best person I ever knew. She worked herself to death so you could have opportunities she never had. And you forgot her. Sarah held the photo. Sobbed harder. I'm so sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry. I let her cry. After a while, she left. Said she needed to think. Needed to figure things out. I didn't stop her. 3 weeks have passed since that night. The video has 4.1 million views now. Articles have been written. BlogTO covered it. The Toronto Star called me for an interview. I declined. The scholarship fund is real. I set it up through a community foundation. $42,780 initial donation. It's called the Margaret Hutchinson Memorial Scholarship for children of blue-collar workers pursuing post-secondary education in Ontario. First recipient will be announced next spring. Sarah and I have talked 4 times since that night. She's been going to therapy, individual sessions. She broke up with Brandon, said she needed space to figure out who she was without trying to fit into his world. The Chens sent me a formal apology letter, typed, signed by both Victor and Patricia. They said they never intended to diminish my contributions, that they respect what I did for Sarah. I didn't respond. Sarah sent me something last week, a new graduation announcement. She'd had them reprinted. Cream cardstock, engraved lettering, same format, but this time the paragraph was different. Sarah wishes to express her deepest gratitude to her father, Gerald Hutchinson, who paid for her entire education with proceeds from her late mother Margaret's life insurance policy. Margaret Hutchinson was a devoted nurse who worked tirelessly to provide for her family. This degree exists because of their sacrifice, and Sarah is honored to carry their legacy forward. I cried when I read it. First time I've cried since Margaret's funeral. She's trying. I see that. Whether we can rebuild what was broken, I don't know yet. But she's trying, and that's something. If you've watched this far, thank you for listening. If you're in a similar situation, if you've given everything to your kids and felt invisible, I want you to know this. You're allowed to demand respect. You're allowed to refuse to be erased. You're allowed to say no. I lost my daughter for a while. Maybe permanently. I don't know yet. But I kept my dignity. And I honored Margaret, and that matters. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had to set boundaries like this, and where you're watching from. Thanks for listening to my story.